Good, Sam. We in the building tonight on a Sunday? What's
Right?
up, Johnny Dumbbell?
Sunday night toxic masculinity heading your way from your favorite uncles, teaching you how to navigate the pitfalls of your early life, your dating life, or your middle-aged life.
Hey, let me stop you right there, sir. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity.
You know
Only
that, and I know that.
lack of masculinity.
Absolutely.
We in the building. Now, everybody watching, you got to forgive us. Johnny and I were in the middle of discussing something right before we went live that I absolutely know nothing about. Some Coldplay situation. Johnny sent me some video. It was really something that made me sick to even watch. And just watching that man get scared and sit down and not even have the sack to be a man made me sick for men everywhere. I can't believe we're even talking about this bitch ass shit, Johnny.
Whoa, algorithm, William, algorithm. Yeah, no, and here's the thing. At that point, I think that it's not just that, it's that too, but it's also the lack of moxie on the guy's part. Now, I've heard several times just today, if homeboy doesn't duck out of the way, he just stands there and acts natural. 9 times out of 10, maybe their inner circle might have seen something or known something, but they were there with the rest of the office. So I think a lot of these people knew what was going on anyway. It was basically an office outing to this Coldplay concert. So it wasn't like a one-on-one date. There were other people that were coworkers that were there with them, from what I understand. Now, those are preliminary reports. Maybe that's not accurate, but that's what I was told. But the crazy thing is now, at that point, you could have just stayed cool, stayed stoic. Well, I don't want to say stoic, but you could have stayed cool, not ducked out of the way. You could have just stood there, high wave. You might have even been able to get away with refusing to kiss her. And you pulled the whole, oh, we're just friends. I just had my arms around her. That's all. Whatever it is, if you wouldn't have ducked, if the two of you wouldn't have scattered like cockroaches in a fluorescent light, we wouldn't be having this conversation. There would be no video to talk about. So, I mean, not only is this guy, kind of using that position of power to be able to, get with these girls. Not that women aren't biologically attracted to men with power to a certain extent, but let's face it, he knows this.
It's dirty macking. That's why I have no respect for this man or this situation at all. He's using his spot at his job as CEO to influence his dating. Like, this is pathetic. Like I said, I can't believe this makes men everywhere look bad. First of all, if you're an actual man, you should be open and honest with the woman that you married, the woman that you took an oath with. Like, hey, I love you. No one is ever going to replace you. But from time to time, I'm going to step out and do my thing. And that's not a reflection on you at all. That's a reflection on me and the choices and the options that I have. But you need to know that no matter what, you are good at home. You're my wife. We're locked in. And had he had the balls to do that, he wouldn't have been ducking on camera like some little girl.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, presenting an agreement like that to your spouse, it's going to be hit or miss. But the least you could have done was presented that, I think. And here's the thing that I've noticed. Now, here in Pittsburgh, I know it sounds strange, but there are a lot more millionaires here than there are in the Mahoning Valley, and I've talked to a few of them. Now, as a personal trainer over the last decade or so, I've worked with a lot of very wealthy individuals, and the general consensus that I get is, like Bill said, you could probably be that wealthy, get away with doing these things as long as you're somewhat transparent. These ladies, a lot of these wives don't care. They don't mind as long as those bills stay paid. Hold on. They don't mind as long as those bills stay paid.
What, get away with what? When you're the man, you're in charge of shit and you dictate.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
You tell that woman how it's going to be.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. But that's what I'm saying. When you have those kinds of resources, there are a lot of wives that'll realize they're going to live a better life, staying with you than leaving you. So there's a lot of them that'll just say, hey, whatever, go do your thing. Just keep the bills paid. Keep the credit cards down. And that's why I say the less resources you have in that situation, the more careful you'd have to be if you were going to go ahead and do something like that or present something like that as an agreement to her. But, I think that a guy that's worth $1.5 billion could have probably at least gotten a chance to sit her down and maybe get a compromise or something. But no, like you said, instead, he decided that it was better off to not only run around with somebody else, but to run around with somebody else that he works with. Or worse yet, that works under him in more ways than one, apparently.
We're talking about leaving women at the gym and the job alone. And now this guy who I'm pretty sure isn't subscribed to either one of our channels, is going to get taken to the cleaners for half of everything he works for because he doesn't have any balls and he doesn't have principles and standards. He's weak and flexible and compromising. And this isn't even a man. This is an adult male.
And what did he compromise? Well, his principles. Andy, I know you're probably not watching this. You probably never will. But if you do, remember, our advice is for men of all walks of life and all ages, really. We speak mainly to young men, but hey, let's face it. Obviously, having these kinds of issues in life, it knows no salary cap. And that's what we're here to explain. You know, these kinds of things, they come from in here. They come from up here. They don't come from the pocketbook. Thank God.
And you know, this woman, I don't know what her situation is either, because like I said, Johnny, I don't really know any of the details of this. You know, I don't really.
Some people are saying
events.
Some people are saying she's been divorced for 3 years and that's it. Other people said she got divorced and she is now remarried, which is what it seems like is the case. But I haven't really. I'm not real sure on that one. But either way, I think that either professionally or personally, or in his case, both, they both had something to lose. Because even if she was perfectly single, perfectly, you know, never mind the fact that you can probably say, well, he was the boss, I was afraid to say no or something like that. Hey, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is that if you went into this willingly and of your own free will, you knew this was not a good idea. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the chief of HR. Now, my question is this. I want to know how many people she had to can for having workplace relationships, though. That's what I'm curious about. Because now so again, we're not just talking about infidelity. We're talking about office politics here, because I have personally known people who have gotten fired from jobs that I worked at for that particular purpose. And look, that's all fine and good if you have a clear-cut policy against it. But here's the thing. If you got a clear-cut policy against it, you HR directors better not be getting caught violating that. And this just got caught in front of, well, it was initially 60,000 people, and now it's looking more like 6 billion people. The rest don't have.
I don't even know what else to say.
So messy situation. Yeah, I mean, that's all I really got as far as that goes.
The cleaners. I hope he learns the hard way. That's how most people have to learn. So maybe he'll get some game about him, and the next billion he makes, he won't give half of it to some woman he can't be honest to. Precisely.
And I mean, but the thing of it is, as we both know, chances are it's going to be the same old trend of money talks and bullshit walks. And that's my prediction for this whole situation. That's going to be a general prediction on my part. I'm not going to say exactly what's going to happen. I'm certainly not a legal expert. I'm not even a not making bad choices expert, folks. So I mean, believe me, we're both here for that same reason. But you know, there are certain levels that at our age and from our experience, we personally would not stoop to, and I think that's kind of what it looks like here. So anyway, we do have some really good questions from those of you who actually do pay attention to our show and actually do understand what we're trying to tell you, that we're here to help you. We're your uncles. We love you. Billy, why don't you go ahead and give him the intro? I know we kind of went off on a tangent here, but let's get that intro.
I apologize for that, everybody. This is something Johnny and I were
that was more my fault.
Before we went live, and we had to stop, and I just needed to finish my thought, because when I see men represented like this, it's bad for the brand. Somebody like this, who's a CEO and a billionaire, is making us all look bad. And I don't even count him in with the likes of us, man. That's an adult male right there, because he wouldn't be hiding. He wouldn't have anything to hide. He wouldn't be ashamed of what he was doing. He wouldn't be getting caught doing anything. Yep. Let me tell you right now, nobody but the police are going to catch me doing anything. So, and that's just because that's how I live my life, man. I'm under a different set of constitutional bylaws. You're not going to catch me doing that kind of stuff.
No, and yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing too, is that I think that I think the moral for you younger men in this situation is take a good look at some of these guys who are getting caught in scandals. This guy being worth $1.5 billion, he probably had, you know, good investments. He knew what he was doing. He made all the right choices through high school, college, grad school, whatever it was. He knew how to invest. He knew how to get to where he's at. But no matter how smart or successful the man can be, it only takes something like that. What were they on the camera for, like 3 seconds? 3 seconds.
I don't even know, bro.
It wasn't the 3 seconds that ruined his life. It was the choices that led up to those 3 seconds that ruined his life. But the thing, and the point I guess I'm trying to make is, young men, as you build up your kingdoms, all right, remember that Rome might not have been built in a day, but it didn't take long to burn down, did it, Bill?
It did not. But that's how it is. There's always goths at the gates. If it ain't rough, it ain't nuts. Let's get it. Everybody watching, my name is William, and let me welcome you to my channel. It's called William the Conqueror, where I can show you how to conquer the hearts and minds of women the world over, but only if you first have the ability to conquer yourself. I'm talking about self-discipline, gentlemen. Better get you some, or you're going to be like this man right here, giving away half your fortune to some woman sitting at home watching you act a fool on TV.
Yeah.
John, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, like Billy said, I'm Johnny Dumbbell. I am a personal trainer and life coach out here in beautiful Pittsburgh, where, by the way, this weekend I got to hang out at the Vintage Grand Prix over by the Bob O'Connor Golf Course near Carnegie Mellon University. And, man, there were rare European race cars, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Unfortunately, where my personal tent, where our professional tent was, we couldn't see any of the races, any of the time trials, but we were able to hear them. And, you know, I think when you've gone to car shows as many times as I did as a kid with my dad, for example, you can start to tell a Ferrari engine from, say, a Mercedes. And, you know, it was really kind of neat. There were some, you know, like I say, rare cars. They even had, I mean, there were American sections. They had the German section. I mean, there were just unbelievable, you know, things that I hadn't seen in years. Hadn't really been to a car show in a while, so it was really exciting. But anyway, I'm a personal trainer, life coach. I'm here to share my successes, though, and mostly my failures. You know, because let's face it, I've never learned a thing from succeeding all the time. Well, I've never succeeded all the time, but I'm here to help you understand the concept of self-respect, self-discipline, self-confidence, dating, relationships, self-improvement. And that does mean physical, mental, and spiritual, emotional, whatever you want to call it. Gentlemen, I give you this disclaimer every single week. If there's something you are thinking of doing and it sounds stupid, reckless, foolish, expensive, something that you may end up paying for the next year or the next 18 years, please do yourselves a favor. Leave it in the comments, shoot us an email, shoot me or Bill a DM, talk to us first. Chances are, whatever you're thinking of doing, whether it's romantic or sexual, we've probably thought of it, we've probably tried it, and at least one of us has learned the hard way why you don't do that. In short, we're that uncle that everyone in the family talks about and says, you don't want to be like them, but trust me, if you talk to us, you'll learn a lot.
Well said, sir. Johnny, it's always a pleasure to have you rocking here with us. I appreciate you so much, sir.
Hey, love you, brother.
So we got some questions, man. Our nephews have been writing in, asking some stuff. And look, let me explain for everybody watching how this works. We encourage your questions. You can put them in the chat live right now. You could call in anonymously or write Johnny. We understand a lot of you guys lack basic confidence and you don't want to get on the phone. You don't want people to recognize your voice or whatever you're thinking, but we really want to help you in any way that we can. So write in with your questions then.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Johnny's handles are in the description every week, every show. So reach out to one of us. And if you send me your question, I'll forward it to Johnny and we'll make sure we get your answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for example, this one comes from Brian. And Brian says, I need breakup advice. To make it right to the point. To make it short, lovely relationship for the first 6 months. Things at her home were not so good, and she messes up the relationship, and it goes on and off every 2 to 3 months for about a year. Then she finally went away for about 6 or 7 months. But also, she has kissed a guy now. By the way, this kid's 21. She has kissed a guy now. I know this sounds very weird, but I know she loves me, and she only kissed someone so that we don't go into the cycle and move on. I am spelling denial, Bill, but we're going to hold off on that. I really love her, and I just want to know. I really just want to know what I should. I really love her, and I want to know what should I make sure, or what should I do, so that I can gain her trust, or so that I can gain the trust for her again, and feel safe. However long it takes, I just want to know the way I can believe her or tell her to do things that make me believe her. I think what's God. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you. my answer would probably involve some profanity, so I'm going to be careful here. Here's the thing. This relationship didn't end when she kissed a guy. All right. Number one. Actually, no. That's going to be number two. Number one should have been, what is it that you are trying to do? Are you trying to mold her into somebody you can trust? This relationship did not end when she kissed that guy 7 months ago. And number three, this relationship ended a lot sooner than you probably think. This relationship ended when she decided to break up with you the first time. Not this on and off every 2 or 3 months. That relationship ended then. And at this point, I think you're kind of begging for a situation. And I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, but that's a guy like that. And yes, sometimes. But this relationship ended when you guys started going on and off. And at that point, that's where she doesn't have any respect for whatever you guys have together. She doesn't have any respect for any of those particular feelings that are involved here. And yeah, man, this was over probably a year ago. Bill?
Well, first of all, Johnny, I think you should control your chat, because if you're selling sweaty gym socks online somewhere, I don't need to know about that in our little podcast here.
Hey, man, what's love? What's life without a little trolling, right?
All right. Yeah. It's all love here. Appreciate the comment.
At least
I have so many questions. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, why do you hate yourself? That's my first question. Why would you allow nephew? You need some help here, buddy. Johnny, I don't think I all right. You need to get your life together. You really need to get your life in order and focus on yourself first. And you're going to have to get away from this woman and cut all ties with her. Here's the problem. Here's what you don't know. Here's what you can't see, is that you don't have enough experience with women to understand that when women are into you, that's not how they move. That's not how they treat you. That's not what their actions are. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Johnny Dumbbell, always talking about bottom lining her actions. And if you were doing that, sir, you would know you have a problem there in whatever you're calling a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, the thing of it is that, at this point, I think you're asking questions because you're trying to check your work, so to speak. You probably already know the answer to this, but it sounds like you needed to hear us say it. And, and so here we are saying it. This relationship is cooked, all right? Like a bucket of KFC, it is fried. You got to get out. It's done. I don't know what kind of lure she has when she texts you again, or, what it is that you see that you can't seem to let go of. But believe me when I tell you, no matter how much fun it is to sail, that ship's sunk. It's done, man.
Nephew, I don't really believe in blocking women, but you got to understand, I'm in my mid-40s and I have extensive experience with the women. You, on the other hand, don't have much experience at all. And Johnny talks about something called no contact. And while I don't practice that, while I don't subscribe to that, I will say, with the situation you're in, you need time to give your nervous system time to detox and reset. So you should absolutely think about following Johnny's advice and going no contact with this woman for a minimum of 30 days and just focus on yourself. And it's amazing that we have to tell so many of you young men the same thing, to focus on yourself. And how to do that, it should be like breathing to you. It should be not even second nature, first nature. It should be to focusing on yourself. What you have done is you've put this woman on a pedestal. And by doing that, you don't realize that from this point on, she's going to look down on you, nephew. You're never going to be that man she looks up to and respects. So it's better to cut ties and move on and find a woman that will respect you. You can do it. You're still young enough. You got your uncles here to help. I got faith in you, nephew.
Yeah, baby.
Now, John. Yeah,
I mean,
let me just say this. We talk about moving on. We talk about leaving that woman, but we also understand how difficult that is to do. Sure, it might be easy when you're mad at her, when you're fed up after y'all just been fighting. You're like, forget her. I'll never speak to her again. But
yeah.
And look, I understand how you feel because feelings change, and sometimes your feelings about her can change too. So it really comes down to you being able to stand on business. Okay. Because you can't do that. If you say you're going to leave and you don't leave, do you know how bad she's going to treat you? Knowing that no matter what she does to you, you're not going to leave her.
And listen, we know how hard it is to walk away from somebody you're still attracted to, somebody you still want to be with. It's hard to walk away from somebody that you still love. But here's the thing. If she's checking in, checking out, hot, cold, she's already checked out, dude. Now you're just a distraction when she's bored. Again, it's done.
This is what a lot of young men don't understand is you should love yourself more than you love that woman. So walking away from her shouldn't be absolute devastation to you because no matter what, you still got yourself. So I think a lot of you don't put enough time and energy and effort into yourself and being the person you should be to yourself. And that's half of your problem. When was the last time some of you took yourself out to dinner? No, I mean, a lot of you nephews, man, you will take a woman out to a nice restaurant to try to impress her. When was the last time you took yourself out to a nice restaurant? Tell me that. Put it in the comments. Let me know.
Not only that, but also in the comments, dude, what do you think is more important if you have this poor kid's lack of self-confidence? I would say take that money and use it on a gym membership. Get your confidence up, get your strength up, start to feel better about yourself. I don't care what it is you do there, but do the Johnny Dumbbell Get Off Your Ass challenge and get out there and use that money for something for you. Because once you've made yourself better, you will be able to understand not only how to conduct yourself on those dates, but to be more selective about who you take them on.
Okay.
All right.
So in closing, nephew, I just want to say if you need to follow up with us, go ahead, because there are certain steps that you're going to have to take to remove this woman from your life. And you should get with one of us and check all those boxes. So we're here for you. If you need us, just go ahead and reach out.
All right. So good luck to you, Brian. And like I say, we'll follow up with you via email and we'll talk a little bit more offline. So this one comes from Gary. We got another Gary. How are we getting all these Garys? So we got another Gary. He's 27, girlfriend's 28. He says, my girlfriend gets upset with me if I ask what she did today. Now, this gets kind of interesting. And it's going to take a little bit for the story to develop. Yes, I read ahead. I know I'm not supposed to. Sorry. Had to pre-screen. So he says, whenever
it's all love, Johnny. I got to pre-screen Rumble profiles on Thursday. You pre-screen the questions on Monday. We share the workload.
I tell myself, just don't read too much into it so you can answer spontaneously later, So anyway, he says, whenever my girlfriend goes out with a friend, I'll ask afterwards, who'd you go with? Or, what'd you guys do? And then she either ignores the question or says she doesn't need to tell me and doesn't want to be controlled. I literally just asked the same way that I would ask my buddy. Like if I'm like, what did you do today? Oh, that's fun. Who'd you go with? The problem is I don't understand why that's a bad question to ask. I've never been controlling, nor have I ever stopped her from hanging out with anyone, nor tried. As Johnny Dumbbell says, controlling the woman is impossible, right? Very good. I lost my place. I was all excited about that. Usually afterwards, I get upset because it's such a simple question to answer, and I feel disrespected. I really don't think she's cheating on me, but there is a little voice in the back of my head that assumes that could be one of the reasons, because why else would this be an issue? She does have some guy friends, but she does this with the guy friends and the girlfriends. Wow. So lots to unpack here. And honestly, I wouldn't have any qualms about your girlfriend having girl and guy friends, except for the fact that if what you're saying is true and you are getting that kind of static from her just right off the bat from asking what she was up to or who she hung out with, if you're not asking in an accusatory tone, you're really just, if you really are asking like, oh, hey, what'd you guys do? This and that, and she's coming back at you with venom, then I would say there's something really messed up there. Either she's got anger issues that I am nowhere near qualified to delve into, or she really doesn't want to talk about where she just was and what she was just doing. Now, the other thing is, though, I have to ask this. Are you asking innocently? Are you being honest with your uncles when you're asking this question? Because here's the thing. If you're not being honest with us, we can't help you. So are you doing that, or are you really saying, well, geez, I really wish I knew who you were going with? Were there guys there? Did you do this? Did you do that? I mean, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but it really just doesn't sound like the normal flow of a conversation that you're just innocently asking, and she's jumping right down your throat saying, oh, don't tell me this, don't ask me that. Hey, man. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're, being honest with your uncles because you truly want us to be able to help you out and truly want us to be able to give you a good answer to this question. And so I'm going to assume that she's snapping on you for asking a normal question in a normal tone of voice. If that's the case, my next question to her, if I were in your shoes, would be, does that question upset you? And if so, why? And shut up and let her answer. You will learn a lot, not only from what she says, but you'll learn even more from how she says it and the body language that she exhibits while saying it. Remember, indicators of interest don't just stop the minute you get the committed relationship out of her. Indicators of interest happen throughout the relationship. Indicators of interest happen after you freaking break up sometimes. This is something you have to, and I want you in the context of a relationship, in the context of a discussion like this, I want you to take indicators of interest and switch that term to simply body language. How is she looking when she says these things? Is she leaning away from you? Is she folding those arms? Is she doing things that show that she's trying to subconsciously protect herself or hide some sort of truth or some sort of feeling from you? You got to pay attention to those things. I don't, unfortunately, have a good solid answer for you on this other than that. But I will say this. Monitor her actions over the next days and weeks. Monitor her body language when she talks to you, even when it doesn't relate to this. And I think, honestly, Gary, you will have your answer. Bill?
Johnny,
Uncle Bill,
we always talk about it's all love here, but sometimes that means it's tough love. And I got to tell you, nephew, you're doing some real sucker shit. And if you keep it up, you got to get out the car. You cannot ride with us. First of all,
if that's the way he's doing it, yes.
No. Why do you care what this woman is doing? First of all. Second of all, why aren't you busy yourself? You're really sitting there like her little puppy waiting for her to come home? Man, I'd be out turning up and wouldn't be back till the next day. She'd be blowing up my phone wanting to know where I'm at. Okay.
Well, but let's look at the other side of that coin, though, Bill. What if I have to assume that he really is asking the same way I would ask you what you were up to today.
Why would you ask your woman that? That's what my whole point. Why would you care what this woman is doing?
Well, I think he's trying to say that he's asking it in the context of, oh, how was your day? And I think you should always ask your woman that. But, and again, I understand where you're coming from because that probably is what's happening here.
Why isn't she like, hey, I want you to come with me? Because, Johnny, when a woman is into you, she doesn't want to be away from you. All of her free time, she wants to spend with you. She doesn't want to go out with her friends unless she wants to, bring you along too. So he's doing sucker shit. This is what I mean by he's going to have to get out the car because you shouldn't be asking her, hey, what was your day? Or what was you doing? Who are you with? Because those are questions someone who is insecure would ask out of fear. And that's what she's picking up on. A lot of people don't realize women are very emotionally intelligent. They're really in tune with their emotions, and they can tell the second you go into feminine energy. You come out of that masculine energy, you start going into feminine energy, she can smell it. Why do you think she's being so disrespectful? Because you're not being the man here, and you're not leading the conversation, and she's in charge of it. So
here's the thing. It doesn't sound like she is cheating because, here's the thing. When guys write into us, if he thinks she's even thinking about cheating, that's one of the first things he'll say. But right here, he comes right out and says, no, I don't think she's cheating. So what it sounds like is you're either trying to convince yourself, and that's why you're asking her constantly what she's up to. And that's if you're on the insecure side. Now, if you're on the right side of this line, then you're asking her an innocent question and she's getting angry with you for asking because she's maybe hiding something or wants to keep something concealed. But here's the thing. In either case, it really sounds to me like this has the makings of a toxic relationship with both of you, not just you. And it really sounds like a situation where someone here does not feel like communicating. And even if there is no foul play going on, if somebody has decided that they are not going to, or they are not able to communicate, that relationship is most likely sinking, like our friend Brian on the previous question. Thankfully, not quite as obvious, not quite as bad as our friend Brian, but you're in the same ballpark. And I'm not saying necessarily that the relationship's over per se, but I'm going to say it's probably over. But before you make that decision, if you think it's worth it, I would say have a sit down and have a very, very earnest and honest conversation, and ask that she do the same. But other than that, I think that there is. I think there's either some serious guilt on one side or some serious insecurity on the other. I do not think it's a mixture of both.
If she doesn't respect him enough to give him a straight up answer, why would she respect him enough to listen to how he feels?
Whether she's doing anything wrong or not, right?
Energy. Here's the thing, nephew. Let me give you a piece of solid advice. Instead of being there and asking her next time who she was with and what she was doing, why don't you, first of all, not be there, come home after her, and then see if she asks you that question. Okay. And if she doesn't ask you, if she's not questioning you where you've been and what you've been up to, don't you dare start asking her. Okay. Let her wonder. Let that doubt maybe fester in her mind a little bit. And then when she goes out again, go out again yourself. Don't ask her. Don't let her know ahead of time. Just not be there when she comes home and be having a good time, enjoying yourself somewhere. Focus on you, nephew. I really think these insecurities are going to kill your relationship. And like Johnny said, the communication is gone. And I can tell you from my own experience, once you remove a communication from a relationship, it doesn't have long left. So
yeah, respect is really fast to follow behind it. Yep, right on heels.
So you're better off just focusing on you, starting that right now. Stop asking sucker questions. Be a little more secure in your masculinity, in your manhood, and start leading this woman. If you're that worried about her going out, then plan more dates. Take her out yourself. Look, you need some help, reach out to us. We definitely have some more questions, but we can follow up with you whenever you need us to. I'm just saying the way you're approaching this is very emotional, and you're giving off a lot of feminine energy, worrying, wondering who she's with, and you're not being a man about it. Because really, look, if my woman, if I had a woman and she went out, I'm certainly not going to question her about who she's with. I'm not asking her any questions at all, really. I'll probably tell her about what I did and how my evening was and where I went and the people I ran into, and just talking about me, she'll disclose things about her evening all on her own.
Yeah.
So you have any other advice for him, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, and see, that's the other thing too, is like Bill said, if you really have those insecurities and you really have those hangups, if you're not ready to take action just yet, that's all fine and good. But don't talk to her about it. Number one, if she is doing dirt, it's just going to make her better at covering it. But even if she's not, now you're showing a weak, insecure side of yourself. So you know what you do? It's like I tell you to do all the time. Call up one of your buddies. Look, this is how old I am. I'm pantomiming a telephone. Call up your old buddies and, hook up a beer time. Go have a couple of drinks. Go have a couple of beers. Go have a couple of cups of coffee if you're in recovery, whatever it happens to be. But you can tell him, I can hang out with Bill, tell him every hang up I've got, because he won't hold it against me. And he won't lose respect for me and decide he's not going to talk to me or see me anymore because he's not my girlfriend. He's my buddy. He's my dude. He's my bro. And I'm sure that you have some. And if you do not, you need to make friends. I don't care how. I don't care where. The gym is a good place to start. But then again, I think the gym's a good place for a lot of things. And the fact of the matter is,
I should probably be there
it's
right
true.
now.
Meet your buddy for a workout at the gym. You could tell him all of your hang-ups while you guys do arm curls. But do not let her know that you are feeling insecure about what she is doing. If anything, if she is supposed to know anything about how you think or how you feel or what you think about what she's doing, it should only be when you have that discussion that says, I don't like this behavior. If it continues, the next conversation is going to be one of us packing our stuff or, hitting the trail, whatever, whether you live together or not. The point is, next time we have this conversation, it's going to be the last one. And like I said last week, if you are going to say that, if you are going to have that card in your hand, do not draw that card unless you plan to play it. Because again, we're already getting a little bit of weakness energy from you. And if you don't follow through with the whole, if this keeps up, we're done, and you let her continue to do those things that you don't like her doing, because there's nothing wrong with your boundaries no matter what they are. It's just a question of whether or not she respects them. Excuse me. So if she continues not to, and you don't follow through with that whole keep it up and you're done, she's not going to be done. She's going to keep it up because she's already seen that there are no consequences from you. There's no you walking away. There's no separation involved.
Business. You're not standing on business, nephew.
Nope.
So I really think most of y'all are in the wrong relationships, and you guys should, like 80% of you should end your relationships right now and learn how to find a woman that you're way more compatible with. You'll be so much happier. Take it from me. I'm speaking from experience here. The more compatible you are with the woman, the easier things are in your life.
Yep, definitely.
All right.
So, but hey, thanks for writing in, man. And Gary, we're going to be following up with you as well. And I kind of want to know how this turns out, but I kind of know how this is going to turn out.
I kind of know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. So the last one I got is from a guy. He calls himself Bazinga. Shout out to Big Bang Theory. I love that. Guys, when you write in, you don't have to give us your real name. That is okay. You tell us whatever your name is. You tell us whatever you want for your name. I don't care. The point is, we're here to help you, and we're gonna do just that. So he says, and this is gonna come off sounding a little strange, but I understand why he's asking this. How do you date when you're touch starved, or when you're touch starved, but don't want to come off desperate? I've been single for a while, and honestly, I miss simple things like hugs, closeness, kissing, and I'm sure that you can imagine, but the algorithm doesn't like when I say it. But when I start dating, I'm scared the craving affection makes me come off as a little bit too intense or too fast, as Uncle Bill likes to say, BA stuff. Does anyone else deal with this? I love that. I mean, he actually did write it out. I'm just letting you know. Does anyone else deal with this? How do you date in a healthy way when you're starving, when you're starting from a place of loneliness? So I think what he's trying to ask here is he has probably not had close relations for a while. And when he goes out on a date, that seems to be clouding his thought process as opposed to what you should be talking about on a date. That's what I'm getting from this. What do you think, Uncle Bill?
I think he's got some good questions.
I do too. Yeah.
Read that last part back to me one more time.
Of course, it would make me put my glasses back on.
Yeah, there was something that stuck out to me.
He said, how do you date in a healthy way when you're starting from a place of loneliness? I like the way he words that.
Yeah. You shouldn't be, is what I would say, first of all, because if you're lonely, like we were just talking about with the last young man, women are going to pick up on that energy. That's probably what leads to you not getting a lot of second dates is they're not really enjoying themselves because you're projecting that loneliness.
Oh my God, is he ever? Yes.
Yeah. So I don't want to say you're sympathy macking because I don't know enough of the circumstances, but I could tell you if you're lonely, then that means you have some work to do on you. Nephew, I take a me pill every single day and I am content with myself. I could be around me just 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, 366 days a year, and I would be just fine. I don't need anybody else. I don't get lonely. I always have myself. I talk to myself. I communicate with myself. I go hard for myself. I'm disciplined in my diet. I'm disciplined in the gym. I just love me so much, and I put so much positive energy into me. I could never be lonely ever again. I could be the last person walking on the planet and wouldn't be lonely. And if you're not at that point, then you have no business being out here talking to women, because, nephew, it's all love here, but I need you to understand something really important. There are women out there looking to use you and finesse you out of resources. They will pick up on that wounded animal vibe that you're giving out and fleece you for every penny they can get from you. You better hope you don't come across one of them women being all lonely, because that's what they're going to go after first. They're going to try to make you feel not lonely, and then they're going to start asking you for stuff. So you have a lot of work to do on you before you should even be out there dating.
Yeah, that's how I ended up married, buddy. Just letting you know. It's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, and that's just it. You can't go out with baby batter on the brain, is what it sounds like is happening here. And I totally, completely understand that. I think that.
Well,
I definitely agree with I definitely agree with Uncle Bill here, because the big thing you got to remember is being alone doesn't mean you got to be lonely. I spent this entire day today. I spent this entire day by myself. I went and walked downtown. Oh man, it was so awesome.
I love those days.
I was walking downtown on the Riverwalk, right up the Allegheny Shore on the North Shore. Now the Pirates are playing right at PNC Park and getting beat by the second worst team in baseball today, by the way. But I'm listening to the game on my headphones, and I'm walking down the Riverwalk, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, this solitude is so satisfying, because here I am. I'm a man listening to a baseball game in my headphones on a Sunday, and I may or may not have been drinking a water bottle cocktail at the time. But the point is that, you know why I was able to do that? Because nobody was asking me not to. You know why I was doing that? Because I wanted to spend some time with me. Now, I like what Bill said about talking. He says, I talk to myself. You know what? I talk to myself. And if you find yourself in a room by yourself talking to yourself, let me just set your mind at ease. No matter whether anybody walks in on you and hears and sees you doing it or not, there is nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, there's something very right with it. It means that you were in touch with yourself. It means that you have things to say to you. Because when you no longer have anything to say to yourself, contact a professional. I'm not qualified to help you, but I really want you to contact a professional. If you are sick of you, that is step one that leads to another epidemic amongst men in this country, which is self-unaliving. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to read about that. I certainly don't want it to happen to any of you. So if you get that far, talk to somebody. But if you haven't gotten that far, then have a talk with yourself. Have a talk with yourself in the mirror, or have a talk with yourself while you walk down the street, pace your living room, ride your bike. I don't care. But as long as you get to know you, I think you'll get to like you. And once you get to like you, so will a lot of other people.
Johnny, you said you think he's going out with baby batter on the brain.
I really do. He says he's touch starved. Okay, I know what I think. I think I know what he means.
Okay, so here's the thing. My question is going to be, what are you dating with the intentions of? Are you dating with the intention of finding a female that you're compatible with, or are you dating with the intention of finding casual relationships? So if that's what you're looking for, lonely is probably giving off thirsty energy. So that's a whole.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of a similar problem, but you're giving off a whole different vibe, which is going to completely turn women off. That thirsty, needy, desperate. So again, if you're a little more secure with yourself and in tune with yourself, you're not doing that. Okay, when I meet a woman, my intention is never to smash her. Okay, my intention is to really is to let her get to know me, because I'm just like the greatest thing out there. It's like I'm walking around with $1 million in a briefcase, and I walk up to a woman. I'm like, hey, do you want this $1 million? And if she says no, I don't care, because I know the next woman is going to want that $1 million. So I'm not tripping on it. I'm not sweating on it. There's no thirsty energy there. I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to a woman, Johnny. I will change a woman's entire life.
That's right, Uncle Bill. And
me.
Yeah. That's right, Uncle Bill. And you know, the thing is, and what he's saying here is, maybe, you know, obviously we're not all walking down the street with a briefcase full of $1 million, but you should be walking down the street feeling like $1 million, and not just feeling like $1 million. Yeah. And not just feeling feeling like $1 million because you're in a good mood. I want you to feel like $1 million because you know you are worth $1 million or more. Now, we all know that economically, monetarily, I'm not worth $1 million. At least not as far as the bank's concerned. As far as I'm concerned, I'm worth way more than that. I have one life to live. I have one body. Unlike my cell phone, I don't get to upgrade that every year or two. I got to work on the one I got. I don't get to replace that. I don't get to replace any of the parts, at least not cheaply. And so that's why I work out. That's why I see a therapist. That's why I work on my mental health, my emotional health. And lately, though I haven't had much to say to God lately, my spiritual health to a certain degree too. There's something to be said for not only working on yourself, but the after effects, and not just the after effects on you, but to those around you. And that includes the very ladies whose touch you are craving.
Hey, Johnny, it's funny you mentioned that because I affect and influence so many people around me. It is just crazy.
Sure.
Just through my day, just the positivity that I'm putting out into the universe. I have a conversation with somebody and they could be having a bad day. They could be upset. And after I'm done talking to them, they feel refreshed. They feel energized. Sure. They feel ready to go conquer the world. So
do you know how many of my clients, meet me at 6 o'clock in the morning? I bust their ass for an hour. They go to work, they get there by 7:30, and they have more energy than any of the people that just rolled out of bed 15 minutes before their shift starts.
Hey,
and that's why Uncle Bill's at the gym at 3:30, 4 a.m. Yeah, that's why I'm lifting weights at 5 a.m.
4:15, sometimes 4:30 at the latest, but I'm there every morning. Okay, so my days are typically like this. I like to get up at 3:30 in the morning, and one of the things I do is I pray, Johnny, and I don't ask for anything. I don't ask for forgiveness. I just pray because I'm appreciative for having another day, and I'm grateful for the blessings I've already received. That's it. And then I do some yoga because I really want to open my heart chakra before my day starts, because I want to approach the day with love. I don't want to act out of fear. I spent so much of my life acting out of fear. And at this point in my life, I know to move forward and get to the next level and just be of service, I need to move out of love. So I'm opening my heart chakra with some yoga, and then I'm in the car on my way to the gym, usually there about 4:15, because I like to get a good hour in before work.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at work at 6 a.m. and, I've been running backwards on the treadmill while most of these people are still sleeping, and they're wondering why I got so much energy. And you take that into account with how much I fast and how clean my diet is. That's why I don't get tired. So I work till about 4:30, and I don't talk about this a lot, but I'm a full-time parent. I have 2 children that I'm responsible to raise into good people. So I take that's the most serious job I have. So I'm spending that time that I'm not at work on the job, turning these young humans into good people. And then when I put them to bed about 9 o'clock, that's when I fire up the laptop. That's when I do the live streams with Johnny Dumbbell. That's when I do the editing. That's when I try to reach these young men so we can get out here and change their lives. And I try to be done with that by 11 o'clock so I can get 4 to 5 hours of sleep before I got to get up and go to the gym.
Yeah, and gentlemen, the big thing too is I'll even tell you, even if you're not the gym type, because I know some of you guys watching, you're not the workout types, and oh, there goes the microphone, and I understand that. Man, what happened there? And I understand that, but here's the thing that I want you to try. If you're not going to do the Johnny Dumbbell Get Off Your Ass Challenge, that's okay. The Johnny Dumbbell Get Off Your Ass Challenge doesn't have to include the gym. What I would like to see you do is whatever you set your alarm for, I want you to set it for 60 minutes earlier than normal. And when you do, I want you to get up. I want you to take your time and make yourself a good breakfast. I want you to light some incense or whatever it is you have to do. And I want you to sit down for about 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes tops. And I'm not saying meditate, but I do want you to sit down and think about what your life would look like if it was going the way you wanted it to go. If you draw a blank thinking about that, send us a DM. Tell us where you're starting out from. We can give you some really great ideas as to the mindset that you need to set on a daily, weekly basis. Short-term goals, it can be intermediate-term goals to long-term goals. Remember, every journey starts with one step. I don't care where you're going.
Okay, two things. What Johnny's trying to teach you how to do is manifest things that you want for yourself in your life. If you
God, I
can't
hate that word, but yes, you're right.
If you can't visualize that, you're never going to be able to pull that off. And secondly, I also want to add to that, if you don't have enough work ethic to get up and make your bed every day, then you, sir, have failed and you need to go back to the bedroom and try again.
Like it literally takes 8 seconds. Like a cowboy can stay on a fucking bull longer than it would take you to make your bed.
All right. All right, Johnny. So we're not going to be doing a live Monday because Uncle Bill here has another ink appointment. And I guess we'll be back, Thursday night with another Bumble episode, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
I got something to talk to you about off screen, but I guess we'll be back.
Here we go.
We'll be back. It's about somebody I've met off of Bumble who also does content creation. Well, actually, I have two conversations. One of them is the OF conversation, and the other one is
oh, wrong one. That's what I meant. Sorry.
All right. You know what? We'll be back Thursday night, Johnny, and you and I can talk about this in about 30 seconds.
That's right. And gentlemen, don't forget, if you drink, don't drive, and if you drive, don't park, because as we know, accidents cause people.